Hey guys, what's up? Adam here from Red Top Engines. So I'm going to be working here on this 2012 Land Rover LR4. A little bit of history about it. I purchased this car sight unseen as a project car with the intent of keeping it, and had it shipped out here. It wasn't running, and was told that it just won't start. So I suspected it was the fuel pump, which I replaced. Turns out it wasn't the fuel pump. I changed the high pressure fuel pump, still wouldn't start. Changed the timing tensioners and the timing chains and guides and whatnot up in the front of the engine, and still would not start. So I found out that bank 2 had no compression. So I had to do a valve job, took everything apart, put it back together, and it ran great. However, roughly 50-60 miles later, I noticed that the check engine light would come on, and it would indicate that the VVTs are not functioning as they should. I was getting a P0027 code and other timing related codes. The car was running somewhat sluggish, but still operational. Still could drive it fairly well. And from the research that I did, people indicated that you could add BG109 or related. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. Yeah, BG109 along with this into the engine to help clear out any gunk and debris that may have accumulated inside the engine. Well, after doing that, maybe 20-30 miles later, the intake on the oil intake on the fuel on the oil pump got clogged. As a result, critical components within the engine did not have the necessary lubrication, and thus the engine seized, which meant that I had to rebuild the engines, and that's what I did. I took the whole engine apart, reconditioned everything possible, the crank, the heads, and replaced just about everything I possibly could replace in the engine, including the 4 phasers, the VVT phasers. And I put everything back together, and the truck ran like brand new. It was powerful, responsive, and for the first 50 miles, I drove it to a Land Rover dealership to get alignment done and inspection done and whatnot. But after picking it up, something happened. I don't know what happened at that dealership, but something happened where it just wouldn't run the same anymore. I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody. It could have happened to anybody, including myself. I made no mention to it to Land Rover. However, they told me that the VVTs are acting up. Now, I did have them replaced, meaning I had them replaced before, and I've heard instances where the VVTs could fail again, or they could be faulty out of the box if they're kicked around or whatnot. Now, I'm not going to replace the VVTs again. Those are very expensive. They're at $300 a piece, and I doubt it's the VVTs because they are brand new. And the purpose of this video is to try to outline the differences in the manner in which I have done the timing job on this vehicle the past 3 times. Now, this points me to the notorious timing chain tensioners. There is a discrepancy in the manner in which these tensioners are supposed to be set in the vehicle. And that is the only constant that I've done in the past 3 times doing this job, which gave me the same codes. Whether I had rebuilt the engine or changed the tensioners, I would always get the same codes. And the only thing I didn't do was what the Jaguar version, the Jaguar manual indicates. Land Rover manual, this is the Land Rover manual, indicates that you have to take your tensioner here. Land Rover indicates that you have to fully extend. This is a brand new tensioner I bought from Atlantic British. You have to fully extend the shaft, the tensioner piston, put it back in, retension it, and install it into the vehicle. And once you have your timing all set, you simply pull the pins. And here, line number 18, it clearly says do not use mechanical force. I do know that you have to make sure that you hear a click so that this piston, the tip of that piston, would actually match properly into the groove of the guide, of the timing chain guide. Now, I did this, pulled the pins. I did not apply mechanical force. I spoke with Atlantic British about the process that they do, and they also indicated that all you have to do is simply install this new tensioner, and you pull the pin, which is a different technique than what Land Rover is indicating. The third discrepancy is what Jaguar is stating here. Jaguar states you have to do similar to what Land Rover does over here. However, you have to apply force. So the main difference is here, Land Rover says do not use mechanical force, whereas Jaguar says if the piston can be pushed back, the tensioner is not correct. You do have to apply force, and some have mentioned that you have to apply significant force and make sure that guide is as far away from the tensioner as possible, and ensure that you hear 2 clicks, not just 1. This is a step that I haven't done. This is a step that I believe is contributing to my truck right now running sluggish. And I do have the check engine light on. It's indicating that the exhaust cam phasers are not operating as they should. I did replace them, and I'm still getting the same codes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another timing chain job on this truck, and it's going to be the 4th time now. Where's the key? So mind you that these jobs are not cheap. They are labor intensive, and there's some people on here who have actually taken shortcuts by taking just the front of the engine off and not having to take the covers off. I don't want to do that because I want to make sure that my cams are properly aligned. I want to make sure that my timing is dead on. I don't want to take any kinds of shortcuts. The other shortcut that I don't want to take is reusing those tensioners. And here you can hear the engine. So it idles well. It sounds like it's fine. However, under load, it is not operating as it should be. And thus, I need to go back in and redo the timing. Oh, back to those tensioners. So there are people on here who have indicated that you could recycle or reuse these, that you could retension them. I have tried that. I have tried to salvage them. These, by the way, are also new, and I couldn't get it to work. And for the amount of work that I'm going to get into, it's just, for me, not worth it. Even though these puppies are quite expensive, at $150 a piece, it does add up. But anyway, so I'm going to do the timing job again, but this time I'm going to use the Jaguar method. I'll keep you posted.